Hi, everybody. So sorry to interrupt anybody's conversations that are going on right now. Just wanted to make sure I gave a really quick overview for anybody that this is their first time in AirMeet. It's a new platform for us as well. I see we've got about 15 or 16 people in here right now, but if you if you basically look at the lobby and you choose a table, you can double click on a chair to get into the table and start a discussion or join a discussion. Also, to the toolbar to the right-hand side, there's a chat box there, and you can actually open up the chat and you can have chat with everybody as the presentation is going on, or if you need help with anything there. And then there's also an option at the very top right of the chat where you can have a direct chat with somebody in here. Also, feel free to play around with the bottom toolbar. There's obviously your video, your mic is there, there's emojis, there's different poll functions, there's a bunch of cool stuff that you can do in there. So feel free to play around, but most important thing is just to get into a conversation, choose a table, double click on a chair, and you should be able to join. Thanks so much, guys. All right, hey everybody. I think, there we go, got Joe, Monica up with me. There you go. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening. I wanted to introduce, for anybody that doesn't know them, I'm sure most of you, or if not all of you already do, Joe, our president and CEO, and Monica, our member inclusion specialist. We have a very important announcement that you guys are one of the first few people to know so far. So I want to hand it over to Joe to take that away first.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nikki. And, okay, that's not me. So we are really excited to share with everybody that Palm Beach Tech is now going to be known as Tech Hub South Florida. This has been a long process for us, actually, as a team and as a board of directors, that we have reluctantly finally came to the conclusion with. We have a really amazing name and a really awesome mission to support all of the tech industry through all of South Florida. As an organization that got started here in Palm Beach County, we have grown to a point where we can really take it to the next level, not just for those in our backyard, but across our entire region, from Jupiter all the way to Miami. So with this virtual atmosphere that we have today, it's really given us a great opportunity to expand our scope, expand our impact, and expand the growing list of people that we help support to build our tech community. So you're going to be seeing a little bit more here over the next couple of days for that. So do stay tuned, check your email. You'll see some more announcements from us, but you'll start to notice the things that used to say Palm Beach Tech are now going to say Tech Hub South Florida. So thanks to Monica and thanks to Nikki for all their hard work in putting this all together, and look forward to the program here tonight. So Nikki, I'll take it back to you for a second to take us to the next.
Cool, thank you, Joe. And I don't know why right now, maybe it's your headphones or because we're all three of us on here, I feel like we're doing a newscast thing, like take it back to you, Nikki. But anyway, you got the jacket and the headphones and everything. So
it's a nice day out.
I see that. That's obviously why both of you right now are sitting outside. I feel like I need to be. So Monica, I wanted to hand it over to you if you wanted to introduce our sponsor tonight, and then right after that, if you'd like to go into our presentation with Alan.
Yeah, so are you the one that's going to be presenting, Alan? Oh, Joe, you're on mute.
Hey. Yeah,
I'm actually bringing up Carrie right now on stage,
Okay.
Monica.
Yeah, so
AirMeet's a fun new platform for us, so we're
trying to figure it out.
Putting it all.
There you go.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is actually our kickoff Tech Talk for 2021, and we do have an awesome sponsor joining us. He sponsored like half of our Tech Talks last year. He's just an awesome guy. He's reliable. And his name is Carrie Stamp, and he runs Carrie Stamp & Co. They have an awesome team. So I'm going to hand over the mic to Carrie, and please just take it from here.
Monica, thank you. I'm always glad to be known as reliable. Thanks. And I'm excited to sponsor the new 2021 series of Monday Night Tech Talks for Tech Hub South Florida. Great updated new name. So I run a financial advisory firm. It's an intensely planning-focused financial advisory firm. We're located in South Florida, here in Tequesta. I also have offices in Chicago and in Stamford, Connecticut. In the practice, I have 4 certified financial planners. Each of our team members receives over 60 hours of continuing education every year. And in the last 60 days, 4 of our team members have gotten new financial advisory certifications, like certified financial planner, accredited estate planner, accredited investment fiduciary. And we have an average client retention of 98%, and the average client's been with us for 9 years. So if you're looking for a financial advisory firm that you'd like to talk to about what your long-range planning is, one that's going to be around for a while, we're happy to have a conversation with anybody in Tech Hub, South Florida, about what's going on. And we're also experts in deferred compensation, equity compensation, and stock options, if any of those things apply to your company. Thanks again. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm excited to hear Alan talk tonight. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Carrie. Monica, did you want to go ahead and introduce our speaker for tonight?
Yes. So I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker. Nikki, if you can bring him to the stage. And Joe, you're going to go ahead and present. I see you working over here. Actually, you know what, Joe? You can go ahead and present our speaker. Yeah, let's do that. And then share a little bit more
perfect.
about South Florida. Perfect.
Awesome. And we're just still working out the new share screen there. So for those that haven't seen this, this is our new logo for Tech Hub South Florida. Very, very awesome. And with that, I do want to welcome Alan Shimel up to the stage with us. He is the founder and CEO of MediaOps. This guy has got more connections and has done more technology content than I think anybody else that we've talked to. He's always got somebody that he knows, always got somebody that he's gotten some insights from. So he himself is an amazing dot connector full of information. He's going to be talking today about digital transformation and surviving and thriving in 2021. But in addition to MediaOps, they operate a lot of other brands that you've probably heard of, like DevOps.com, Security Boulevard. He's a guy who's done a lot with some different subsets of technology. So, Alan, you've been an amazing support to our organization. You've supported our hackathon. You supported the FAU Data Science event this past year. You're awesome. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for our ecosystem here, and really looking forward to what you have to share with us tonight.
Thanks, Joe. Don't embarrass me, please. And
yeah, I'll try my best not to, but you are pretty cool.
No, but it is about like supporting community and stuff. So guys, I'm going to need a little help though, because it is a new platform for me. How do I put up a presentation?
There is the share screen button.
Yeah, exactly. On that little toolbar in the bottom middle, I think it's a third button in, at least it is for me.
Third screen. Okay. All right. Share. Oh, similar to Zoom. Okay. And then are you guys seeing here, let's see, hold on. Can you see my slides?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, so I can't see you all anymore. So Monica, if you don't mind, if there's questions or something, just stop me and I'll jump on it, because I'm on a Mac and Mac does a terrible job when you're doing PowerPoint slides. It like takes up the whole screen. But guys, thank you. I didn't put anything in the slides about me, to tell you the truth, so I apologize. But as Joe mentioned, over here at MediaOps, which I founded 7 or 8 years ago, we do run DevOps.com, Security Boulevard, Container Journal. We also run a daily video stream called TechStrong TV at techstrong.tv. And all of our videos are on Digital Anarchist. I'm also co-founder and involved with the DevOps Institute, which is the world's largest provider of DevOps certifications and training and curriculum. It's a membership type of organization, and Accelerated Strategies Group, which is a analyst kind of firm doing a lot of research and stuff like that. I have about 30 plus years in the IT industry, mostly in venture-backed startups, which is why Joe thinks I know so many people. When it's not a question of being good, it's just a question of living that long. So it all works. What I wanted to talk tonight about is a presentation I did called Time is on My Side. And I know that may not sound right to some of you because we're coming off such a crazy year where, quite frankly, time wasn't on our side, right? 2020, many of you are much, much younger than me. As you get older and you have children and children's children, they will talk about 2020 as being the year of COVID times. The way we talk about the Great Depression or World War II, or even the Spanish influenza of 1919, the Spanish flu of 1919. It's colored everything we do, and it's changed things, and it's changed things forever, many things forever. And we could dig our head in the sand and think we're going to, go back to Groundhog Day and it's going to be different. But that's not the case. And I think to survive and thrive in 2021 and beyond, we've got to recognize that, and we've got to learn some lessons that I think we can learn from 2020 and apply them to what we're going to see in 2021. So the fact that you're here listening to this means that, thank goodness, you weren't a casualty of COVID. But you know what? Just here in the U.S., 450,000 plus people have died, and many of us probably know friends and family members who have. And so anything I'm saying here doesn't negate the fact of the tremendous loss that we've seen in lives and health. It doesn't negate the fact of the businesses we've seen go away forever over this last year. But at the same time, 2020 represented a digital tsunami. We were talking with Mark from Home Depot at our table before this. He was saying, curbside pickup's here forever. You're damn right it is. Whoever wants to go in the store when you could order online, have it brought out to your car, and thank you very much. So this digital tsunami in many ways has wiped out traditional businesses, but it's also a rising tide that's lifted many, many boats of organizations, and even from the biggest to the smallest, who have learned to go digital, to undergo this digital transformation. And the other thing I will tell you is that this digital tsunami did not start in 2020. It's been building. 2020 accelerated it and hastened it. But, quite frankly, I hope there's no SpongeBob fans here. But if you didn't get in front of this digital tsunami and start digitizing, if you aren't already, you will be roadkill, right? This march to digitization, it's not even a march, this sprint to digitization threatens to overturn everything. COVID or no COVID, it's going to overturn so much of how we perceive how our lives are lived, how our businesses operate, and what you're going to do for a living, right? How are you going to earn money? How are you going to either start a business, work for someone, or what have you? So in many ways, though, 2020 was the tipping point year, and COVID was the proverbial last straw on the camel's back, right? A lot of this next information I'm going to share with you comes out of a survey that was done by McKinsey & Company. And if you're not familiar with McKinsey, they're great. I mean, their stuff is usually really, really quality material. And I will tell you that their study showed that, just in the last year, as it says here, their companies, the people they surveyed, 3 to 4 years of digital transformation took place in 1 year on customer and supply chain interactions. So how they were getting materials, how they were conducting business on the back end accelerated 3 to 4 years faster than they thought. On the front end, how they got product to customers, how they digitized their products, that accelerated 7 years. So it was a 7-to-1 acceleration, which, I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it. I'm hoping you guys could see some of these numbers, but I'm going to explain it to you anyway. So with COVID-19 accelerating the pace of digitization, what we saw across the world was pretty phenomenal, right? In 2017 and 2018, whether it was on a global scale or broken down in Asia, Pacific, Europe, and North America, digitization, digital transformation, believe it or not, was flat, right? Some areas did better than others, but it was flat across the board. North America led the way, right? But still flat. This digital transformation didn't start with COVID. It started really, we see it in 2019. In 2019, you saw a huge leap, again, across the whole world. Asia Pacific, Europe, North America, you saw that leap in 2019. So we were primed. That pump was primed for a digitization revolution in 2020. COVID, as we say, accelerated it, but it was coming. And then you see in 2020, which is the black line here, right? It just took off, it rocketed. North America, almost 2/3, right? There was a 2/3 digitization from 25% 3 years ago. It's crazy. How did it manifest itself? Let's look at this bigger chart. It's on the right of my screen. I hope it's on the right of your screen. So they asked executives, how long do you think it would take to accomplish this goal? Increase remote working and/or collaboration. Move all the people that we see, all of us moved remote within, in March. It was expected that making that kind of move to a remote workforce would take 454 days. And it was actually accomplished on average 10.5 days, right? You can see the multiples there, but just think about that. We moved to remote working in 10.5 days, increasing customer demand for online purchasing and services. Mark from Home Depot is the perfect example we were talking about. People thought it would take 585 days, almost 2 years, a year and a half, to do that. In 21.9 days, they were doing their curbside pickups. I don't know if Home Depot was, but organizations were doing their curbside pickups and meeting customer demands like this. It meant adopting advanced technologies at a pace unheard of or unseen before, right? Adapting to changing customer needs and expectations, increasing migration of assets to the cloud. People were planning their migration to the cloud to take 547 days, 23 days. Just go down the list here. You can see that we accomplished these things in under a month across the board. And these are big things that we did in under a month across the board. What does it show you? What does it tell you? That when faced with do or die, people do. People do, organizations do, if they have the capability and they've been planning for a digital future, a digitization. I don't think this is a revelation to many of you, right? I think everyone saw and has lived through Instacart and curbside pickup and shopping online and Zooming with your friends and colleagues, working from home and everything else. Many of us say, okay, though the vaccines are coming, it's going to come back to normal. We were talking at the table and Monica said, well, when we, later this year, when we go back to in-person meetings, I'm not so sure that happens later this year. And when they do come back, they're not going to be what it was in 2019, right? I have this theory that, it's like a law of physics that time only moves in one direction. In spite of what you see in sci-fi movies, you really can't run the clock backwards. You can't go back in time. So anything we do going forward is going to be based on what we've done already and we move forward with. You're not going to go back. Part of that's a fundamental shift. When I got into IT, and for many, many years after that, if you ask most business executives, CEOs, CFOs about IT, they would tell you that IT was a cost center, right? IT cost money. And for, you know, as recently as 2017 in this McKinsey stat, one of the top 3 priorities from business executives for their IT initiatives was scaling down costs. So how do we continue to do IT, but let's do it cheaper? Because they didn't have the mentality that IT was the game changer. They didn't have the mentality that IT was not a cost center, but a profit center. That IT would drive the business profits going forward. And so you could see here now over, you know, in this past year, 38% of executives and organizations investing more in technology to make it a competitive advantage, refocusing the entire business around digital technologies, 19%. You've got almost 58% here of companies that are made that leap now, that have stopped thinking of IT as a cost and think of it as a competitive advantage, as a way that they've got to build their business around. It's the move to digitization. It's the digital transformation. And again, from the McKinsey study, the things that we did this past year aren't going to go back. They're the most likely things to stick through in the recovery. 62% of the McKinsey respondents said that changing customer needs or expectations not happen. It's going to be right. It's sticking. That's not going to go back. Increase in remote working and collaboration. Right. 93% of organizations experienced it. 54% said that's not changing. Now, I think it will change a little. We are going to be able to go back in our offices. But quite frankly, I'll tell you, I mean, I don't have a big company. We have 26 or 27 people now. With DevOps Institute, we have maybe 50 people altogether. They've told us they might come in a day or two now and then to check in and do the water cooler thing, but they are perfectly capable of working from home and doing a great job. They get their work done as good or better than they did in the office. And there's really no reason for them to come in, right? So that's going to be something that's not going to change. We're not going back to these big crowded offices and everything else. Migration of assets to the cloud. No one's going to start putting stuff back in their data center, right? But we've seen, before 2019, depending who you believe, somewhere between 4% and 20% of all IT infrastructure was cloud-based, public cloud-based. We think we're at the high end of that number, maybe as high as 35% now. But that's just the beginning. We think that number is going to go to 60% over the next few years. So I'm not saying everything is going to be in the cloud, but we're going to see that increased, accelerated migration to the cloud and then to the edge, right? Which is kind of the new frontier. So how do you survive and thrive? Start thinking about, how do I live in a cloud-based world? How do I, take advantage of the edge and everything there? Another big, and then I'll go to the next slide, another big area, increase spending on data security. Look, security is always, in the top 3 of priorities, but budget-wise, it gets short-shrifted. But one of the things with people working remotely, with all of this move to the cloud, with everything we see in the news with SolarWinds and whatever the breach du jour is, security has emerged in this digital transformation equation as a winner, as something we know we have to get better with, right? That we've got to do better. So security remains, not just remains, has increased in importance. So looking how to survive and thrive, if you're doing something with security, it's a good thing. One last McKinsey data point. For organizations that were doing good before COVID, they didn't change, for the most part. They did not change their direction because they were already well on their way to digitization. 61% accelerated their timelines, but didn't change their direction. As a matter of fact, a quarter of them doubled down, increased focus on digital, right? But for organizations that were losing, And then COVID kind of really put a double whammy on them. Almost half of them, over half of them, increased focus on digital and made a large change in direction in that regard. So, now the real question is, was it too late for some of these organizations? Even though they tried to make that change, did they have the runway? Did they have the assets? Did they have the resources? Did their customers give them the time to do it? And that the name remains to be seen. In any event, though, what does this all mean? I wanted to leave you with 3 things to take out of here that you guys can kind of focus in on. So first of all, there is going to be a new normal. It's not going to be what it was in 2019. Maybe it'll be, as talking with Monica, hybrid events versus just in-person events. Virtual events aren't going away. These kinds of meetups virtually are not going away. It's much better. It's nice to be able to go meet people, in person, face to face, but it's much easier to draw people into this type of environment than it is to get someone from Jupiter to drive down to Fort Lauderdale or vice versa. So it's going to be the new normal, and we shouldn't freak out about it. Here's another thing. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the book Crossing the Chasm, right? This is a classic. For anyone who hasn't read it, go read it. I forgot the author's name right now. I'll try to put it in chat. But, just about every single technology adoption that we've seen since like the late 80s has followed this. And that is, you have your innovators, your early adopters, and then if something really catches on, it hits a tipping point, right, where it goes into the mainstream, as we call it. And then there's different parts of the mainstream. There's the early, mature, and then the laggards, late adopters. Digital transformation, as much as we in tech think everyone is in it, it's not. We're probably still somewhere in that main majority group, right? Which represents the, when you take the 2.5% of innovators, 13.5% early adopters, 34% main majority, they're in the top half. About half of organizations are got their digital transformation somewhat underway. But there's still a lot of organizations that are late to the party, that are just coming on, that are just realizing they've got to do it. And that's going to present a lot of opportunities. Talking to a gentleman who just came out of the Army and is looking at gigs and stuff like that. Helping these companies get on the cloud. Helping these companies digitize their product offerings no matter what they sell. Right? Helping these companies exist in a virtual world, not one of brick and mortars, or a hybrid world of brick and mortar and virtual. Tremendous opportunity. Whether you're talking about doing it as an independent contractor or working for an organization that's doing that. Tremendous opportunity. 50% of the market's still coming here, and they are coming. As I mentioned before, don't get into commercial real estate. I wouldn't recommend that as something to thrive in the year 2021. I don't think people are coming back to their offices anytime soon. I have a 3-year lease, or 3 years left on my lease year. But when it's over, I can't imagine using the kind of space we're using now. And I've spoken to a lot of people who kind of feel the same way. Part and parcel of this, though, is not just coming back to the office. Once you're freed from having to come to the office, why the hell would you pay $4,000 to live in a closet in San Francisco or New York or Boston? I mean, Austin's cheaper, Boulder is cheaper, but it's still really expensive, let's say, compared to Florida even. So we're seeing this huge, immigration of tech folk to Florida. Well, why wouldn't they? We don't have state income tax. We have really nice weather. I have a lot of friends who are getting blizzarded on up north today in Boston, Philly, and New York, right? And it really makes no difference where you work anymore, right? Where you're working from, where you live. So you're going to see places that have advantages other than that critical mass of talent that you need to do an in-person thing really start to take off. I think it bodes well for us here in South Florida. So something to take there. The other thing is the way we use apps. My friend who did the Iguana app, perfect example, right? No one is doing sort of on-prem, old-style applications. We live in a SaaS world. I could access my app, whether I'm on my phone, my tablet, my TV, or my computer. It can be what's automatically updated. It's hosted somewhere. It's delivered. Security's built into it. Data security. I just want to have users. I don't want to be in the app maintenance game. Right? No one wants to be in the application maintenance game. We just want stuff to work. And so, if you are thinking about app development, it's got it really. SaaS is the way to go. Monthly reoccurring, annual reoccurring revenue models don't suck either. But really, if you are, thinking of a digital service to roll out, you really need to make sure it's a SaaS kind of product. Next, from a security point of view, right? I have 20 plus years in security. I got into network security originally, and that was firewalls, intrusion prevention systems, vulnerability management, network access control, stuff like that. All of that, VPNs and MLPS for bandwidth, and all of these things, they're gone. Really, what security is hyper important. And what's hyper important in security right now is identity and access management, IAM, right? When I'm going on those SaaS things, right, we all are signing in and you're all repeating your passwords, even if you tell me you don't, I know you do, and it's a security problem. We need to do a better job of recognizing that it's Joe Russo and who Joe is and where Joe can go and what Joe's allowed to do and what Joe's not allowed to access. What is Joe allowed to download? What's he allowed to export? Right? There's a new generation of IAM tools, companies like Okta and JumpCloud and some others, who are making this easy. They have proxies. You set up your identities, and on the back end, it just works. Whether you're talking about accessing Slack or AWS or any of the apps that you use regularly, it works. And in this coming year, IAM, or Identity Access Management, is going to be the main focus for security. I'm not saying that application security is not important. I'm not saying endpoint security is not important. But we're not going to be spending money on VPNs anymore. The idea of you working remotely from anywhere and sort of teleporting back in, to the office via bandwidth, via VPN, and going out from that office out to the cloud, and out to the cloud, back to the office, back to you, instead of you going cloud direct, it just makes no sense. So identity and access management, if anyone out here is in cyber or looking to get into cyber, check out identity and access management. It's what you need to be doing. I don't know how much time I have left. I'm probably over. But the bottom line is that all of the gains that we made in 2020 and 2019, because remember, this started in 2019, all of the gains we made are not going to get washed away because we all get some vaccines. We may be able to start doing things in person again. We may be able to get whatever new normal is. But we're only going to consolidate these gains and then continue our acceleration of digital transformation. So everything you're thinking about has to be thought about in terms of, how will this work in a digital
Alan,
world?
thanks a lot. This was all really super.
Yeah, good. All right, how do I end this? Stop sharing. Okay. Joe, I'm sorry. I probably won't.
You press. No, we're almost good. It actually turned a little dark outside since you started. But thank you so much, Alan, and thank you for everybody who joined us for the first Tech Talk of 2021 tonight. Really appreciate everybody being here. If you're on video, you can see my hair does not appreciate that at all. But I am the genius who decided it was a nice day to take a call and take this in from outside. So, Alan, as always, thank you so much for everything that you do for our community. from supporting some of the great events that have been out there to just giving a little bit of your time. For those who want to learn more, go to MediaOps.com and see some of their content they have up there. They're always posting new things, and it's always really super informative. And for those who didn't catch the beginning, we did rebrand to Tech Hub South Florida this week. So we do have some really awesome news coming out throughout the week that you should be checking in on. If you noticed, the social media channel started to change today. Very subtle. So it'll be a little bit before we kind of make the big move here. So thank you guys so much for everything, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye-bye.